When you hear the word mafia, you probably think of trench coats, smoky back rooms, and men who built empires on loyalty and betrayal. But Mafia, The Old Country takes us back further than any game in the series ever has, back to the roots of the crime families. In the hills of Sicily during the early 1900s, it promises a dramatic origin story, one that could rival a film in its narrative scope. But here's the burning question. Does this game deliver that cinematic experience while still feeling like a game worth playing? Or is it just a beautiful story trapped inside a shallow shell? That's exactly what I set out to answer when I played this one to 100%. And after spending the hours to fully complete it, the verdict may surprise you. First impressions and scope, I'll start with the basics. Mafia. The Old Country isn't a long game. To reach full completion, including collectibles, upgrades, and side activities, it only took me about 20 hours, and that's being thorough. The core experience is a 14-chapter story, relatively linear, with very little reason to step off the beaten path. Yes, there's technically an open-world hub, but open might be generous. Outside of collectibles, there's almost nothing to engage with. That's a shame, because the setting itself, the valleys, vineyards, and sun-drenched Sicilian villages, feels alive enough to invite exploration. But the game doesn't reward your curiosity. It's a world built more for atmosphere than for interactivity. And that's where the first contradiction appears. This is a game that wants to be a film. On one hand, that makes the narrative powerful. On the other, it leaves the actual gameplay feeling like little more than a vehicle to move the story forward. Gameplay breakdown. Let's be blunt. Gameplay is not where this title shines. Most of the mechanics are things we've all seen before. Stealth sections, cover shooting, and occasional melee combat. The stealth system is extremely forgiving. Enemies barely patrol, vision cones are laughably short, and you're even given an instinct ability that highlights foes through walls. It's almost impossible to fail unless you want to. Then there's the melee and knife fighting. The game makes knives a big focus, giving you several types with different strengths. Some can be thrown. Some hold durability better for repeated stealth kills, and some are better in direct combat. On paper, this adds variety. In practice, it's clunky. The parry and dodge system looks nice until the animations break down. Corner yourself or the enemy, and suddenly inputs stop responding the way they should. The shooting fares only slightly better. Cover shooting works, but it's basic. Aim, snap to target, fire. Pistols, shotguns, and rifles are available, but combat encounters rarely demand creative strategy. Most firefights play out the same way. Hide behind something, pop up, take shots, repeat. Exploration itself offers almost nothing. Aside from collectibles to fun basic upgrades, cars, weapons, horses, you'll find little reason to roam. And while upcoming updates promise a free ride mode to add more content, the game shipped without it, which leaves the world feeling barren. It's not broken, it's not even bad, but it's painfully safe. And for a game that dares to tell such a dramatic story, the mechanics feel underwhelming by comparison. Technical issues. If you've played an Unreal Engine release in recent years, you'll know exactly what to expect here. Across my playthrough, I experienced 4 or 5 crashes. Not game-breaking, but still frustrating in a title of this scope. Then there are the classic Unreal stutters, shader compilation freezes, and even some odd artifacting and cutscenes where moving objects left ghostly after images. On PC, the game runs decently if you tweak settings, but the problems are noticeable. And on the Steam Deck, things get even stranger. The game is rated unsupported, yet in practice it's playable. Frame rate dips are common, but with some settings lowered, the experience is smoother than you'd expect. It's puzzling that it wasn't rated as playable. None of this makes the game unplayable, but it does chip away at immersion. And when your biggest selling point is immersion through story, that's a real problem. The story and characters, and here's where Mafia, The Old Country, justifies its existence. So the story is easily the strongest aspect. Without giving away spoilers, it follows a young man, an ordinary worker trapped in brutal circumstances, who finds himself drawn into the orbit of a powerful family. Through hardship, mentorship, and choices both necessary and dangerous, he becomes part of the Mafia's bloody rise. Themes of loyalty, betrayal, ambition, and temptation are woven throughout. The rivalries between families, the forbidden entanglements with people you shouldn't be close to, the constant shadow of past enemies. It all makes the world feel alive. Characters like the Commandant Don and the trusted mentor and the rivals across town each bring their own shade of personality, from threatening to sympathetic. The ending, without spoiling details, lands exactly where it should. Not neat, not clean, but fitting for a life of crime. It's poetic without being melodramatic. And for many players, and that resolution will stick with them far longer than the gameplay mechanics ever could. World and atmosphere. If there's one thing this game nails beyond its story, it's the feel. Sicily in the early 1900s is rarely depicted in games, and here it shines. The vineyards, dusty roads, and historic architecture give the setting an authenticity that's both beautiful and oppressive. You feel the weight of tradition and poverty pressing in, even as you rise through the ranks of the underworld. Now, there are side diversions like horse and car races, but they're surface level. They do add variety, but they're hardly reasons to return once completed. Still, the atmosphere alone makes moments memorable. Driving a clunky early 1900s vehicle through winding roads while the sun sets behind the hills, that sticks with you. And again, it's another moment where you think, this could have been a film. Maybe it should have been progression and customization. Progression is straightforward. You unlock weapons, vehicles, and outfits as you advance. Knives, oddly enough, have the most depth. Different blades serve different purposes, and you'll notice their utility in stealth, combat, and exploration. Beyond that, however, the system feels light. There are outfits and cosmetic tweaks, but nothing that drastically changes gameplay. And because the main story is linear, you'll have unlocked nearly everything by the time credits roll. It makes replayability low, which again emphasizes the idea that this is a one-time story experience rather than a sandbox you'll keep coming back to. Positives and negatives. Positives 1. The story is genuinely strong, with well-written characters and a thematically fitting ending. 2. The Sicilian setting is fresh, atmospheric, and immersive. 3rd, accessible gameplay ensures almost anyone can complete it without frustration. Negatives. 1. Technical issues, from crashes to stutters, are distracting. 2. The open world feels hollow and unfinished. 3rd core mechanics, stealth, shooting, melee, are basic at best. 4. At $50, it feels overpriced for what's essentially a short, story-driven game. So, where does that leave us? Mafia. The Old Country is a paradox. It's a fantastic story, wrapped in a forgettable game. The characters, atmosphere, and narrative beats make it worth experiencing once. But the shallow mechanics and empty world drag it down. If you're a fan of Mafia as a franchise, or you love crime dramas with powerful storytelling, you'll likely enjoy it. But if you're looking for deep gameplay systems, complex mechanics, or an open world full of secrets, you won't find them here. My verdict? Buy it. But buy it on sale. At full price, it feels like a letdown. At a discount, it's worth the journey. Because at the end of the day, this game proves one thing. Sometimes the Mafia life is better watched than played.